for another coffee with Kilroy, or what sometimes I call beverage in a book. My beverage, well, I think you know what that is. My book, or the book today, is Absolute Emperor, Napoleonic Wargame Battles from Boyd Bruce, published by Osprey Wargames. This is part of their miniature rules line. Osprey has several miniature rules books covering all different periods of time, ancients and fantasy and sci-fi and other periods, and this is their Napoleonic period, Absolute Emperor. Let's take a look at the back of the book here. If we get a little close up on that, Absolute Emperor, Napoleonic Wargame Battles, from the late Revolutionary Wars and Egyptian campaigns to the battles of Austerlitz, Borodino, Leipzig, and Waterloo. Absolute Emperor is a mass battle war game that provides all the rules needed to play during this period of grand armies and sweeping campaigns. Players' armies are composed of multiple corps, with command and control being of the utmost importance, all influenced by the elan of your general. Do you follow in the footsteps of Napoleon and be crowned Absolute Emperor, or stand against the tyranny as Wellington and Blücher? There we have it there. So, and if you followed me and seen some of my videos in the past, whenever I bring up miniatures, I'm quick to note that I'm not a die-hard miniatures player or aficionado. However, I have played miniatures from time to time. I do have some miniatures, but more importantly, I like miniature rules. I like looking at them, trying to understand them, and seeing how they compare to a lot of the tactical board game systems that I have. So, sometimes I'll play these miniature rule sets, not with miniatures. I'll use, stand-ins, like counters or other things I might have at hand, just to get a feel for it. And I know that's heresy, but that's who I am. It is interesting to note, though, that the first miniatures game that I ever played, I really don't know what the rule set was, but the miniatures was Napoleon. A friend of mine had spent months painting and setting up the Battle of Waterloo on his. It was actually on more than one ping pong table, and had the terrain and everything. And he let me. He was kind enough to give me the French as we had to storm the slope of Wellington's forces. So anyway, so my first experience with miniature gaming was Napoleonic. So kind of going back to my roots here a little bit. So let me get a sip of coffee, and let's take a look in this book. And as always, if you're familiar with this rule set and have any comments on it, good, bad, or ugly, feel free to post them down below in the comments. Or if you have any comments about miniature gaming in general, either from this period or other periods, it's all fair game. Just keep it civil. So let's take a look inside here. And as you can see here, some of those other games that they're talking about. Here's Fighting Cell, Honors of War, On Guard, Chosen Men, The Pikeman's Lament, and Rebels and Patriots. Some different rule sets there. And we have our table of contents, introduction, basing units. Of course, that's miniatures thing. If you don't use miniatures, hey, you don't need to do that. Core concepts, command and control. This is something that I always really interests me, is the different command and control, not only in board games, but how they do it in miniatures games as well. Command and control, which has command, movement, shooting, charges, and combat, shooting and combat resolution, advanced rules, tournament and casual play, scenarios, and appendix. And it looks like we have Battle of Burnville, Eylau, Wagram, Waterloo, and Scenario 1 example. Anyway, that might be example of play, maybe. Anyway, let's look in here. Here's an introduction. And I do have some other Napoleonic rule sets. As I said, I have a tendency to collect these, but sometimes I get the mass type rule sets too. They're just for larger periods of times, I should say. There's some core concepts. Your sequence of play is command, movement, shooting, charges, and combat there. Sorry, gotta pull that up a little bit so you can see that. Turn initiative, types of units. Here's your different infantry formations: line, attack column, march order, deployed, and square. You have your cavalry, cavalry types, line, light, line, and heavy. You have your formations, line, squadrons, and march order. Your artillery. And the interesting thing I liked about this book is it had some nice illustrations in here. Big, clear, colored illustrations that you can see here. And then there's the corps commanders. You have phase 1 command. So you get your different, see here, orders are attack, defend, hold, flank, march, and retreat. Here's your phase 2 movement. Talking about terrain. Shooting, infantry, artillery. Dice modifiers. Charges, big part of Napoleonic warfare. And you can hear some of those illustrated examples. Here's combat, multiple unit combat, change facing combat, combat against infantry in a BUA. You look up what that is, what that acronym is. Combat modifiers, shooting and combat resolution, unit exhaustion, extraordinary resolutions. Here's some definitions of halted, recoil, disorder, withdraw, waiver test. They have these general de rationale that they have here, which is kind of, I guess, an explanation or what the concept is, what they're trying to cover here. So they have those throughout these as well. Post-resolution combat results. Okay, and then you have the advance rules. And here's historical corps commander's elan. Nationality special rules. So here's some for each of the different nationalities. And that's something I really like too, when they break it down by factions or nationalities, or in more global rules, by periods, on some of the differences between the forces. Massive numbers of models, partial division, scaling down. Tournament and casual play here. Then you get into the scenarios. Kind of a general setup here. There's elan, wargame, there's Waterloo, and then here's an example here. It's kind of interesting, nice little play example. Then you have an appendix. There you have it. Nice little images in here as well. I don't know what that's for. If these are like different orders you can use. Anyway, there you have it. That is Absolute Emperor. I thought I'd pick this up and thought I'd do a quick page through and see what you all thought about it on today's Coffee with Kilroy. So thank you for so much for stopping by. Best way I know you stop by is drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this rule set, other rule sets, compared to other rule sets. What you think about miniature play in general? What are good rule sets? What are bad ones? Anything you want to talk about. Again, I just don't really have the skill, the time, or the patience to do all the painting, and so that's one reason why. I mean, is a hobby in and of itself, and what makes this hobby, I think, really interesting is that there's a couple of components to it. There's the whole prepping and making of the miniatures and painting of the miniatures and comprising your forces, and then the second half is playing it, right? And so very interesting hobby, and I basically just dabble in the second half from time to time. Anyway, thank y'all for stopping by, and I hope you have a wonderful day. And if it's at the end of the day you're watching this, hope you had a good one. Take care. Thanks for watching.